Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with fabulous concert programs, number 111. Concert programs that you will never see in real life, but which you can enjoy in the comfort and convenience of your own home, or on your iPod, or on a train, or anywhere else but where you should be, in a concert hall. This is the Glazunov Symphony Cycle number 4. Yes, there are 8 symphonies. You know, Glazunov, he's so ignored and disregarded, not so much in Russia, of course. I mean, there's a bunch of Glazunov symphony cycles recorded there. Most of them are not very good, actually. But the bottom line is that he is completely misjudged, in my view. He really was an excellent composer. Yes, he was conservative. No question about it. I mean, he wrote his Fourth Symphony, which we're talking about the 1890s, early 1900s. We're getting there, you know. And at that point, you had turn of the century things like the French Impressionists, and you had Mahler and Strauss and all these sort of avant-garde type people running around. He wasn't one of those. So what? Who cares? He was great at what he did. And what he did was write beautiful music. Beautiful, shapely, melodic, beautifully scored. His orchestration amazes me. Take the Fourth Symphony, which we're talking about. The Fourth Symphony is scored for an absolutely standard orchestra with only 2 extras. There's a piccolo. There are 3 flutes, one of which doubles on a piccolo, and one of the oboes. There are 2 of them double on English horn. Doubles on English horn. But what a difference those small changes make, because he understands how to highlight the extra colors in his orchestra, and also his basic orchestral palette was bright. It wasn't dark and turgid and miserable, which means that the low brass has extra bite when it comes in, and the woodwinds are always there to provide jets of color and atmosphere. It's just lovely to listen to, moment by moment. Now, the Fourth Symphony is a very curious piece because it has only 3 movements and no real slow movement, although the first movement is preludial. I mean, the structure is very interesting, and people always say, well, he's conservative, which means the structure is uninteresting and stiff, and he didn't know how to handle symphonic form. It's kind of amazing. If an avant-garde composer does something bizarre with structure, everyone calls him a formal genius. But if an alleged conservative composer does something interesting with structure, he's considered inept. I mean, it's all just perspective, because this is not a formally inept symphony. It's a formally curiously original symphony, and you have to accept it as it comes. For example, that first movement, which I said is rather preludial, it has almost no climaxes. It's a pastoral, gentle, almost barcarolle-like. It just sort of flows along, comes to one sort of quasi-climax at the end and fades away. It's not overly long, and the thematic material is just lovely. It has a beautiful, soulful introduction, and then a sort of flowing moderato movement, and the introduction returns at the end. Then you get a really zippy scherzo, scored for smaller forces. There's no heavy brass in it, and it's delicious. The woodwind scoring is just so delightful. The tunes are charming. It's really peppy. I mean, it's just the opposite of the first movement, but also quite highly developed, you know, for a movement of its type. And then everything comes together in the finale, which has another slow introduction, you know, paralleling the first movement, and then a sort of triumphant march-like finale where the brass really finally cuts in and everybody has a lot of fun. It works. It works because it gets steadily more vigorous and powerful as it goes. That's called smart. I don't care how good a composer you are. Forget whether or not the actual musical materials are attractive or good. They are. But let's pretend they weren't. Just on paper, the idea, the concept makes a hell of a lot of sense. But it's so unusual in the way that it's done that I think it might be difficult for some audiences to wrap their brains around initially. And that's why I put the Fourth Symphony first on the program. It's all by itself as the first half. And it makes a wonderful first half because that sort of preludial first movement is almost like an overture. And then you have the scherzo and finale to get your pulse going. The whole thing's over in maybe a little bit more than half an hour or so. And you're in business. And you have a wonderful first half of music that's very, very satisfying and fulfilling. So what do you do in the second half? Aha! Well, here's the trick. After intermission, you've got to get some hotshot soloist that everyone wants to come see, and you play Tchaikovsky's second piano concerto, not the first. Now, the second is longer than the first. It's bigger than the first. It's more formally inept, some people would say. You might call this concert the revenge of the second-class Russian composer music things, because neither of these pieces are respected, although Tchaikovsky is respected as a composer, but not his second piano concerto so much. I mean, it was usually played with cuts and, things like that to shorten it up. It doesn't need to be shortened up. I saw Bela Davidovich do it a couple times. It was lovely, absolutely beautiful. But I will say this, it is so big and so long, especially the slow movement, which is like a piano trio. It's got like solo cello and violin and all this stuff going. It really belongs by itself on a second half. But no one has the confidence to put it there because it's not Tchaikovsky's first piano concerto. The fact is, it has a marvelous finale. I mean, a real crowd pleaser, a real bring the house down kind of finale. Yeah, the first movement is a little bit foursquare and stiff. It is. But that's okay. I mean, it's, again, melodically marvelous. The piano writing is very effective. The slow movement, as I said, is gorgeous. And the finale is zippy and marvelous. And it makes a very satisfying second half work. And I think it's good to give that also an opportunity to sort of stand alone as the main event, because the Glazunov Fourth is one of his more unassuming symphonies. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not, an extravaganza all by itself. So I think these two make a marvelous pairing. And it's a wonderful opportunity for you to savor and enjoy two works that are neglected and disparaged and usually treated very badly, in the press and on recordings. It's all in the performance. It's all in giving the music a chance to be what it is and enjoying it and appreciating it for what it is. And I think this would be a very, very interesting listening experience for a lot of you, to take these pieces in isolation without apology, to savor each one all by itself on one half of a program, and have a snack in the middle, by the way. Snacks are always good. And I think you'll enjoy it. I really do. I did. It worked really well for me. I was really pleased with how this one worked out, I have to say. I mean, I know I sound smug, but I just thought it was a terrific concept. And I hope you'll agree. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.